The Anthem drama keeps getting worse. Borderlands 3 is coming this year, but people aren't happy? My name's Force. Welcome back to the Force feed. Before we get into today's video, your boy's getting paid, and I'd like to thank World of Warship Blitz, a free-to-play mobile action MMO that plunges you into intense naval combat. Master World War II steelboat juggernauts from a variety of battleships, cruisers, destroyers, and even aircraft carriers, choosing from 130 unique classes of ships and battling for ocean dominance. You can take on your enemies in real-world locations on massive ocean battlefields. This game's available on Android and iOS. In fact, using the tracking link in the description below will get you a free tier 3 ship upon reaching level 3. Wow! As well as a bunch of other goodies. World of Warship Blitz, join the Navy, conquer the seas today. Thanks so much, guys. I love boats, so that's good. Just check out the boat game. Starting with the news of Anthem. This is a really interesting story that just recently came out yesterday. Jason Schreier posting an 11,000 word article that took a deep dive into a lot of the development issues that plagued Anthem. And I kind of want to summarize some of the major things that came up because it really revealed a lot of the big issues that resulted in Anthem coming out the way that it did. So basically the bullet points are this. Although Anthem was a game that was in development for 7 years, it actually only entered production in the final 18 months. It wasn't in fact always even a loot game. Some of the early builds focused on more of a survival action combat game. In fact, there were overhauls to many systems, including the movement. Flying was something that was added late in the game, and in doing so, they had to redesign the entire world to accommodate for these javelins that would be flying all over the place. The story kept being rewritten. In fact, originally, the game was supposed to be called Beyond, but just a couple of days before the official reveal at E3 2017, they changed the name to Anthem, and then as a result, rewrote the story around the Anthem name. We've got this whole thing of this backstory of the Anthem of creation and stuff, but this game was in development for like 5 years before the idea of Anthem and the name of Anthem was even applied to it. They also had a bunch of issues of overwork and stress. Crunch time was excused as part of the BioWare magic process. There are some choice quotes that I specifically wanted to pull out to share with you guys. Now, in terms of the late production, apparently by the beginning of 2018, Anthem's progress was so far behind that they only implemented a single mission. Most of the high-level design had still not been finalized, like the loot system and javelin powers, and the writing was still very much in flux. They talk a lot about the 6-year development time, but really the core gameplay loop, the story, and all the missions in the game were made in the last 12 to 16 months because of that lack of vision and total lack of leadership across the board. Another quote later in the article said that it felt like the entire game was basically built in the last 6 to 9 months. You couldn't play it. There was nothing there. It was just this crazy final rush. Clearly, this is a game that came together very late in its production. Now, that's not too unheard of. You see a lot of games that are kind of scrambling to put all the pieces together and everything just fits right before it officially comes out. And I suspect that if Anthem had another 6 months even, that would have been the case for this game, but it looks like it came out just before all those pieces fell into place. And with this crunch and this crazy production schedule and things changing all the time, a bunch of communication issues between the different BioWare studios, they had a lot of issue of overwork and stress. And here's a couple of interesting quotes about that. I actually cannot count the amount of stress casualties we had on Mass Effect Andromeda or Anthem. A stress casualty at BioWare means that someone had such a mental breakdown from the stress, they're just gone for 1 to 3 months. Some come back, some don't. And apparently this is something that happened with a decent regularity. People working on this game would have their doctors tell them, you are too overstressed, we need you to take a couple of weeks, couple of months off. Just think about how crazy that is. The job and the work environment there was so stressful, doctors were telling them to take months at a time. So clearly there were a lot of issues. Now, there was a response to this article. BioWare put out a brief couple paragraph response defending themselves, saying we don't believe in calling people out and this doesn't help us as an industry. Making video games is hard. The funny part was, though, it was posted like just a couple minutes after the article was posted. And as I've already mentioned a couple times, this article is massive. So there's no way they actually read the full article, and apparently they didn't get the full article ahead of time. They just kind of pushed out this half-baked response that says, oh, if making video games is hard and we believe in our team and, you know, we should support each other as creators, which, you know, that's all well and good, but it doesn't actually address any of the issues. issues. The issue of overwork, the issue of lack of leadership and no clear vision as to what they were gonna do. They tried to make it come together in the final hours, but they just couldn't do it. And it's just another addition to this continually evolving story of the problems with Anthem. They're clearly not in a good spot, and this article sheds some great light on why that happened. Next up in news, Borderlands 3. It's officially a thing. The game got revealed, announced, and now has a launch date of 2019. Borderlands 3 will be coming to the Xbox One, PS4, PC on September the 13th of this year. We're gonna be getting apparently a gameplay reveal that's happening on May the 1st. And have you seen this box art? It's some good looking box art for video games. That's probably the last time you're ever gonna hear me say it either. That tells you how good it is. Everyone's probably excited for Borderlands 3. Well, initially, yes, there was a lot of hype, a lot of excitement, but then we started hearing some rumors that Borderlands 3 was gonna be an Epic Game Store exclusive on PC, and now those rumors are confirmed and people are not happy. So what's the problem here? Like, why would people, who cares where you get it? If you already got like a ton of different launchers for the different publishers, you know, if you're not getting your game through Steam, what's the big deal? Well, there's a lot of reasons around it. There's a lot of concerns with just the Epic Game Store in general, with things like privacy, with the lack of user reviews, and there's just literally a laundry list of issue. But I think the real biggest complaint just comes from the exclusivity part. If Borderlands 3 came to the Epic Game Store but was also available on Steam, I don't think we'd be getting such pushback, because you could just pick which platform you want to buy it from. The reason people are so upset is because Epic is going out there giving developers and publishers loads of money and saying, put your game only on our store for a limited amount of time. So for Borderlands 3, it'll be 6 months. And that's what people don't like, because there is a list of concerns about the Epic Game Store exclusively, but also because people just want those options. They want the option to purchase it on a different place. They don't want this forced competition. We talk about how competition is good. You've got different competing stores, but it's not really competition if Epic is saying, we're gonna pay you to only put your stuff on our platform. Now, we can't pretend that that's not a thing that has been happening for a long time. I mean, look at the console market. There are games that only come out on the Xbox platform and only come out on the PlayStation platform and only come out on the Nintendo platform. I mean, yeah, exclusivity has been a thing in the industry for a long time, but that doesn't mean that people are excited about more exclusivity. People already have started review bombing Borderlands 2 as a result of this news. They're like, hey, you know what? We don't like what you're doing with Borderlands 3. We're gonna give a ton of negative reviews to Borderlands 2, even though we don't probably even really think that. But just, this is the only way they feel like they can voice their opinion, so I understand why they do it. But at the same time, it's really stupid. It's kind of juvenile. You don't go and negatively review an old game that you probably really like because their new game coming out is doing something that you're not particularly fond of. It's really not the best, most mature way of going about things. But again, I understand. A lot of people feel like this is the only way they can express their opinion, and they're just not happy. They're not happy with Borderlands 3 being an Epic Game Store exclusive for 6 months, and so they're going to Steam and saying, fuck you, Borderlands 2. That's actually quite literally what they're doing. Check out these reviews. But getting back to the main point, Borderlands 3 is coming. Like, holy crap. A lot of these games have, a lot of looter shooters recently have come out and they've really felt like they're falling short. So if anything, I hope that Borderlands 3 can do some stuff, some innovative things to push the genre forward. It would be really exciting. Myself, I would love to see more of an MMO. I'm not getting the impression that that's what this is, though. I'm assuming this is still just going to be a co-op loot gun game and all that. But that's good, too, because that's why Borderlands was so good in the first place. So there you have it. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's episode of The Feed. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoy it. Doggo's barking. There he is. Mailman's here again. In case you guys are curious. All right, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the show. I'll see you later.